Okay, good morning, people. Oh, good morning for me. I think those of you in Asia and Australia and those parts of the world, it's the afternoon. Thanks for joining. I see we already have some people here. So use the comments. Tell me where you're joining from. It would be nice to know who we have here and who I'm talking to. And we'll just give it a few more minutes before really getting going and let people join on wherever it is, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, the usual places. And I can have a bit more coffee. So I did see from the sign-ups that we had quite a few people joining from Indonesia. I think Bali, and we should be having a few people joining us from Australia, though I'm not exactly sure where in Australia. And hopefully we're going to have some other people from around the region as well. Like I say, let me know where you're from in the comments. Let me know if there's any problems with the sound or anything like that as well. And yeah, use the comments to ask any questions that you want to ask. In fact, let me put that in the ticker at the bottom. Okay. Okay, so let's get moving on this and try and make some headway. So I don't know the type of audience we have here, whether people that are here are new to social Wi-Fi, if they're already using the product, if they're here to learn about it and how it could work for their business. So I'll try and keep it suitable for both. And if there is anything that you want to know a bit more about during this, use the comments and ask anything if you want me to go into more detail on things. So what is Wi-Fi marketing? It is always a good place to start with this. Well, that essentially it's using your customer Wi-Fi network in order to find out who your customers are, market to them, and give you some of those competitive edges that e-commerce businesses would have. So we always present things in terms of asking people questions. You know, if you imagine the target audience for our product being hotels, restaurants, cafes, retail, anything in the hospitality sector, we like to ask people, do you know who your customers are? And, do you really know who they are? So a hotel might say, yeah, we know who's booking the room, but it's rare that somebody comes to a hotel on their own. So we can help them find out who all of their customers are. Now, if you don't know who your customers are, you are at a a significant disadvantage compared to online businesses. Take Amazon, for example. They know who you are. They know exactly what you're doing on their website. They know how to attract you back to spend more money with them. There's nothing like that for the operator of a brick and mortar business. So that's one of the first things that we can help with. But once you know who your customers are, you've got to know what to do with that data. So we then take it down to a few other things. We ask our clients, do you know how happy your customers are? And generally, they've got a rough idea. They'll hear praise, they'll hear negative criticism when it comes in, but they don't have a mechanism to get feedback from everybody. So that's a crucial thing, and we help businesses find that out. And there are some significant benefits that we'll come on to from finding that out later. Number 3 is really important. Do your customers come back? Because if they don't come back, then that's lost revenue. Presumably, the business provides a good service. People are happy, but why are they not coming back? And if they're not coming back, they're probably not going to be recommending you to a friend. So that's, again, you're not using your existing customers well to attract new customers in. And these 4 questions here is essentially what we're looking to answer with social Wi-Fi. Now, we're not just answering them. We actually want to use the outputs here in order to generate more business for our clients. So we want customers coming back more often, which is why we have the email automations, which we'll come on to shortly. We want customers to recommend businesses to their friends. And the way we encourage that is through online reviews, because somebody could tell 5 or 6 of their friends about how good a restaurant was, but actually if they put that on Google reviews, thousands of people are going to see that. So that's how we drive referrals, and then that's using your existing customers as advocates to draw new customers back in. So as I've just said, 2 main goals for any business, really. My business, probably everyone's business that's watching this, is you want more of your customers to become repeat spenders, but you also want to attract in new customers as well. If you get a mix of those 2, you're going to have some nice business growth. So this is, for me, this is really important. Management of brick and mortar businesses, what have I just done? Delete that. They are excellent at running their business. They're brilliant at serving coffee, creating a great restaurant experience, fantastic hotel. Digital is perhaps not their strong point. Maybe they have some people hired to look after this, but digital tools can help you drive loyalty. And that's one of the big aspects of social Wi-Fi. And the finding new customers, some businesses just think, well, we'll just push money into ads. But I think there's a better way. Some stats I found recently whilst writing an ebook was that just 25% of people trust online ads, whereas 70% of people trust online reviews. And that's very interesting, because how much money and how much time do businesses put into online ad strategies compared to online review strategies? One of them costs significantly more than the other, and we've built our tools to assist business operators in having an online review strategy. So that's a little bit about what we're doing and why we're doing this. I'm going to change my screen now and show you a bit of the system and how that actually works. Hopefully everything I've just said makes sense. Let me know if there are any questions about that so far. Whilst I find a few materials. Okay, so we use your business's Wi-Fi network to capture data about your customers. That is essentially the starting point. Without that, we can't do any of the subsequent things. If we don't know who your customers are, we are not able to retarget them. We're not able to ask them for online reviews and ask them how happy they are after they've left your business. So that point is really important. And there are some really important things to consider. People are getting wise to how their data is used, especially if they log in through social media methods. They are, they know that they have more rights through GDPR and laws like that. So we've developed a system that is very well, it's branded to every business individually. So when we go in, you'll see that there are no social Wi-Fi elements of branding on any of the login pages. What I will do is I'll just add a new venue to my project here, the Luxury Hotel Group, and I'll just quickly go through and show you how easy it is to create and brand your venue for the first time. So I go in, I want to add a new venue. I'm just going to select social Wi-Fi here on the Google search. You can see it's pulled through a lot of our data here, and really I'm interested in just putting in a name. We'll call it Social Wi-Fi Hotel. All of this is pre-filled. Let's move on. Now we get to a branding wizard, and I'm going to rush through this quite quickly just to show you how quick and easy this can be to do. I could go into a lot of detail on what each of these buttons do, but I've got separate videos for that, which you can probably take a look at in your own time. And I want to get through as much as possible here. But I can drag and drop in images here. I can then maybe we want to put a bit of an overlay on this background, just to make things stand out a bit more. I think that's quite nice. And then what I like to do is I like to go to a website that will get me the colors from a logo. Maybe not that website, but if I just quickly upload my image here, this will be worth it, I promise you. I can get this image here, this color, and let's make the button color the same as that. Let's make the text color black so it stands out on the yellow a bit better. This link color, let's just make that yellow as well. And we're good. And we've very quickly made a Wi-Fi login page. And in a moment, we'll go in and see how that actually looks. This is just a preview of what it will look like. We move on to the next page. So this is the email branding. So we send out a number of emails. We want to create a template for that as well. We have a slight problem here, though, because we have a white background of the email, but we also have a white logo. So I could change the background color, or I could just upload a new logo in there, and all of a sudden we're looking much better. You can see it's pulled through it's pulled through all of the branding from the previous page, but I can also make fine adjustments if I need anything to be changed slightly. And then we just configure our review system. So positive reviews we'll come on to. We want those to be going to places like TripAdvisor, to Facebook, to Yelp. And all you have to do is just paste in the URLs of the pages that you want the positive reviews to go to. I'm just going to leave Google on for now, but this is an idea of what the page will look like. And if I hit create, I've added my new venue. You can see how quick that was. And I was talking that through as well. So I could have probably done that in 60, 90 seconds, albeit I do use this a lot. But just to give you an idea of how easy it is to create these things. But this is what your actual login page will look like by default. Once you've put in those characteristics, this is it on desktop. This is what it will look like on mobile and tablet. And this is our drag and drop creator. So you can make some fine adjustments here if you want. You could change this text to something else. You could, you can change the text. You can change the font. You can change the color. You can add some shadow. We have a drag and drop creator, which is probably quite similar to other ones that you will have used in the past, whereby if you select any element on the central section here, you're going to get options on the right-hand side, and you can make further adjustments, and you can drag in new elements as well. You can also add additional languages. So this one is in English. I think if I were to add Spanish, it basically just recreates all of the content. And for some languages like Spanish, it is already translated. There are other languages that we haven't translated. So if we take, I think, Arabic, it will just recreate everything. Then you need to go in and just touch up the text here manually. So I don't know. I don't know Arabic, but let's go with Polish. I know some Polish. I can just quickly change that to say "Witaj" instead of "welcome," and we're good. If you don't want some login options, if you don't want the Google option, for example, you can just select that on and off on the right hand side. On the email form, if you want to collect more than just an email address and you want their first name and surname, you can turn those things on and off. There's a lot of flexibility to do in here. But adding additional language packs is very important. I can see here that we've got some people on from Bali, so I don't know if Indonesian is a language that people will need to add, but you can do that. I think you'll need to translate it yourself. But basically, if you have anybody come to your property and Indonesian is their language setting on their browser, they're going to get presented the system in the Indonesian language if you've done that translation. So very nice and easy there. And there are other pages that we can do here. So we can have a page before the login page itself. It's an optional part of the process. But on here, you can put things like a YouTube video, for example. So I'll just do that again in case you didn't see. I just go to the elements section on the right hand side. I picked up YouTube and I dragged it in. And now if I select that YouTube element on the right hand side, I'm getting more options. Something I mentioned before. If you select any element, you're going to get more options on the right hand side. I can change the video URL. I can change the width of the video if that's a bit wide, 50% here. And I can also select it to autoplay as well. I can do things like that. What you can also do, if we click on the skip button at the top here, you can add a delay. So people have to see this page for a certain amount of time before they can skip it. So very good, very nice place to put some promotions before they actually get full access to the internet. But coming back to where I started with this point, you will notice that on these pages, there is no reference to social Wi-Fi. Down in the bottom here, we've got a privacy policy in terms of service. Social Wi-Fi's name is in that for legal reasons, but to all intents and purposes, this is a white labeled login system. We are not putting our branding on here anywhere at all. And in terms of compliance and getting people to opt in, we have our agreements page. Again, fully branded. We've got some default text in here around GDPR and the laws that we have to abide to, but you can edit that as well manually. So if I just select on that, I can start typing in some additional things. If I want to, if I want to add more, if I want to remove something, and instead of having opt-in or opt-out buttons, we've been working with a slider idea for a few years now, and we did some studies on this, and what we found was people opted in more often when using the slider than when using a button. So the other option you have is the button, which can look a little bit like this. But the slider, for whatever reason, gets a higher percentage of opt-ins, which is why it's the default option. We're not sure why. We think that swiping right is a very Tinder type thing to do, and swiping left, we're not sure basically. But statistically, it gets more opt-ins. But once again, this is the page where people will see how you're going to how you're going to use their data. And then on the welcome page, once again, this is the point at which people have access to the internet. So you can add more elements in here. And one of the things that you've not seen so far would be the feedback form, which is also available on the review system itself. So I'm going to come on in a moment to the review system and what happens if you get negative feedback. But yeah, you can ask people for feedback on this page. This is the page that people will get to after they've logged in for the first time. But also, if you have returning customers, they are going to just go straight to this page without having to go through all of the login process once again. And I'm going to leave that on there because I'm going to demonstrate something in a few moments' time with the feedback. But you can also put some additional things in here. So you could add in images and redirect them to other web pages. This is very popular if you have a promotions page or an events page. The kind of places you want people to go to, because that's what's going to drive them to spend more money. So if I add a couple of these in here, just to give you an idea, if I add in a couple of cells and then drag in an image into one of those and select that, I can upload some additional artwork. Let's just put in this image again. And if I select that, you can see I have a redirect URL on the right hand side. So I can put in the specific place that I want that to go to. And once again, if I just add in another image, you could do this as a button as well. So let's put in a button instead. Once again, I can redirect that to where I would like it to go to. So you've got a few options here on this page. You have more options because people have the internet access at this point. But by now, we've got their data, and anybody that logs in is and has opted into having their data used, it's going to have their data stored in the user data tab of the dashboard. And this is just going to fill up with names, email addresses, all the good information that's going to help you retarget these people. You can download that anytime that you want, Excel file. You can use our Zappy application to automatically push that data to other websites. Excuse me. But we also have developer APIs as well, so you can build some of your own things there too if you want to. But all the data we captured is available to you in the dashboard anytime that you want. But the data is only valuable if you're going to use it and if you know how you want to use it. So that's why we've built in a number of tools to allow you to automatically use that data without it being too time intensive. So let's go to the review system first, because that's an easier topic to talk about. At the beginning, I spoke about how can we get our customers to bring in new customers as well. How can we turn those people into advocates of our product? And for us, that's around online reviews. So we can automatically send a review request email after their visit. You can determine when that email will get sent. So if it's a hotel, like we say like just over a day after their last interaction with the Wi-Fi network is a good time. If you're a restaurant, then perhaps 3 hours after login is a good idea. You can set reminders. You've got a number of settings here. But what's it going to look like for your customer? We can send an email that looks a bit like this. This is the default. I can very quickly edit this if I want as well. So generally, I'm happy with this, but I'm just going to add in some padding here just to space things out, make it look a bit easier on the eye. I'm not happy with these faces, so I could choose a few different options. Let's go with some stars. That's, the default was nice, but a few clicks, I think I made it look a bit nicer. But this is going to land in everybody's inbox after their visit, and the call to action is very simple. Did you enjoy your visit? And depending on what star they click, we're going to redirect them to a place where really they should be going. So if it's positive feedback and you can determine what your threshold for positive is, the default is 4 stars and 5 stars. So if they give a 4-star or 5-star review, we're going to take them to a landing page which shows them your links to the review sites that you input earlier. So I input the Google review page and nothing else. Now, if I'd added a couple of links, I would go to a landing page that's branded, and it would show different review links. So we've got Google there in the middle. You can probably just see this behind the darkened screen. But because I've only got one, we're going to skip this page altogether and just take them straight to the Google review page. And what's really nice about this is it's not just taking you to a Google page. It's actually the page with the review window popped up, and it's ready to have the comments input. So from receiving the email from Social Wi-Fi asking how was your visit, within 2 clicks, you can be on a website leaving positive comments for people to see. I can't think of a faster way to ask more people to leave you an online review if they're happy. So if they're not happy though, we don't really want them going to these websites. We probably want to manage that internally. So instead of redirecting them or offering them redirection links to your review sites, we just give them a feedback box so that they can hopefully put their comments down, feel like they've got things off the chest, and the internet is not going to see their negative comments. Essentially, we want Social Wi-Fi's inbox to be full of negative comments, because a positive comment in our inbox is not going to get seen by anyone except your employees. So anything positive we want going on the internet, where people are going to see it and hopefully they're going to make buying decisions. And so essentially what happens is, people will get to this page, they can leave their comments why they've left a negative review. And when they hit send feedback, that feedback is going to go into your inbox, which we have here on the left-hand side. I can quickly demonstrate what that will look like by just going through a test of the login process. And because if you remember on the welcome page, I put in the feedback box. So let's leave some feedback for my imaginary hotel here. The check-in desk is poorly staffed. And if I hit submit, the people with access to the dashboard are going to get an email saying you've got some new feedback. You go into the social Wi-Fi dashboard. You see here we've got one new message in our inbox, and we can see that we've got this message. We can see who it's from. We've got the contact details to reply to this person, and what's more, we can reply to them directly from the system as well. So, you know, you get the idea. And if you click send now, this user is going to get an email reply from you. And then what they can also do is they can reply back, and you're going to see the whole conversation trail. And hopefully you're going to put things right. Because if you put things right, they're more likely to come back to you and try again, try your services again, give you another chance. But furthermore, they're probably not going to go online, leave some negative comments, because they kind of got things off the chest and things are being resolved. So it's a very, very useful tool for businesses to identify any problems that they have, find out if they've got any unhappy customers, so on and so forth. And because I logged in, the user data tab now has my details here. We're capturing many things here, not just the data, but you know, the date of their first visit, the date of their last visit, the number of visits that they've had. This is all going to start building up so that you can perhaps start using this data to identify who are your most popular customers, who are your customers that have only visited one time, and then you can create databases of those, send them specific campaigns. You can do many other things if you're going to take this data out of the system and use that with some other emailing tools as well. So the review system is an incredibly popular part of our system here, and if used right, can really boost your online review pages. You know, we've got case studies where we see hotels that have gathered TripAdvisor reviews 7 times faster than before, and because we're only pushing positive reviews, the average score goes through the roof as well, meaning they're ranking higher on TripAdvisor, which generally, if you go by TripAdvisor's data, means that they can charge more money, they're going to get more bookings, their occupancy is going to be higher. There's so many benefits to having a better ranking on any of the online review sites. So make the most of this. This is probably the most popular function that we have, and why a lot of people buy our service. Feel free to ask any questions at this point. I've spoken for quite a while, so if anyone across the channels does have any questions, feel free to ask them whilst I just take a drink. And I'm out of coffee, which is not ideal. One of the questions from is it from Facebook? I think it's from Facebook. Is what review sites can we connect to? So we can only connect with websites that allow third-party referral. A lot of review sites, you have to do things such as book your stay through them, like Booking.com, for example. But we can send people to TripAdvisor, Yelp, Zomato, Facebook reviews, Trustpilot, Google reviews, and Holiday Check. Some of these are more relevant in other parts of the world. But generally, the ones that people use the most are TripAdvisor, Facebook, and Google. And in fact, Google shows TripAdvisor reviews now within their own review section. So if you get a TripAdvisor review, it's going to go to 2 places, which is quite nice. I don't know if this is going to work in incognito. You just I need to log in. Ignore that idea. Okay, so we're taking a look at the review system, and that review system is about how do we get your existing customers driving new people to you. Now, what about getting those existing customers to come back to you again? That's where our email automations are very valuable. These are going to save you a lot of time. They're going to make your email campaigns or the email delivery very specific to the right person at the right time. We're not talking about mass mailing here. The delivery is going to be based on somebody's interaction with the Wi-Fi network. And we have a few different automations. But I'm going to start with a very simple one to understand. First visit email. So it's an email that's going to be sent to the first-time visitors. You saw earlier in the data tab, we keep tabs on how many times people have visited. So if their visit count equals 1, we can just automatically send them an email, and we can also put a time delay on that. So let's think of a use case here. Let's go for the hotel sector. They very much like to send welcome emails. And they like to send that 15 to 30 minutes after somebody has logged in, because one of the first things people do when they get to a hotel is connect to the Wi-Fi network. But they have probably just been traveling for quite a period of time. They want a little bit of time just to sit down, check social media, just relax a bit. So a slight delay on the delivery of the email is useful in this case. And hotels like to put their upsells on here, so that if they have a spa, for example, they give details of, links and details of how you can book treatments in the spa. If they run excursions, they like to share those kind of things. Anything that's going to get you spending a bit more money during your stay. They also like to put in information like you get a reception, when you get given your keys when you arrive, and the receptionist tells you when breakfast is, where the fire meeting point is, and all that stuff you've forgotten about by the time you get to your room. It's always a great idea to put those in welcome emails too. So that's an example of how a hotel would use it. Restaurants very much like to use this to share upcoming events. If they also have a specials. So, Monday nights are notoriously the quietest day of the week for restaurants. So they, a great idea to put some incentive for people to come back on a Monday. They're probably already running some sort of 2-for-1 or free starter with a main course kind of thing. So share that there so your customers are aware of that. So if we just give this a name, and we go through to, once again, our drag and drop creator, we have some default things in here, but you can, I'll just get rid of the lorem ipsum. You can build up an email using the drag and drop elements here. So I add in some text, dear guest, welcome to hotel social Wi-Fi, blah, blah, blah. Let's add in, we can add in an image, for example. So let's just put this one in again. If I select that, we have on the right-hand side more options. So we can put some radius on the edge of this, if we want to cover the edges of the image. If it's a bit wide, let's go 75%. But we can also add in a URL here as well. So if you have a landing page on your website, which has all the information that somebody would need to know about the excursions, I don't know, the coral diving, the spa menu, you can just paste in that URL there. Anyone that clicks the image is going to get sent through. And if we spend a bit of time on this, we can make this email look really nice. We can add in link buttons as well. Again, it's pulled our default branding from the wizard earlier, but you can make a lot of more adjustments here on the right-hand side using in the same methodology. And at the bottom, we can change the email subject as well. And once again, as with everything, you can create different language versions. What that is going to do, it's going to recreate all of the content that we've made on the first one, and then you just need to go in and update the languages on on the text and if in different places. You can also put in, once again, a YouTube video, and you can add different columns in here. I'm really just dropping things in now, and I know this isn't going to look the greatest. Welcome again to Hotel, but I hope you get the idea that it's a drag and drop email creator. You can create some really great messages here, and hopefully drive people to spending more money with you. So this is an email campaign that was setting up on their first visit. If we just tab through again, let's save that. You can add attachments as well. So if you've got some PDFs or anything you want to attach, you can. But that's just one of the email automations that we have. It can be used for somebody during their visit to get them spending more. But it can, like I said with the restaurant example, it can be sent shortly after their first visit, but it's hopefully going to encourage them to come back, because I don't really know how much upselling you can do during a restaurant or a coffee shop visit, for example. It's all about encouraging them to come back once again. So if you let them know, if you give them a reason to come back, then they're more likely to come back. But we've got more automations than that. We've got loyalty email. So this is very popular in the restaurant and the bar sectors. So send a specific email on a certain visit number. So perhaps on the 10th visit, you want to deliver a message thanking people for their loyalty. You probably get the idea. We can set a time delay as well. But you can also set that for every nth visit. So in this case, it will be visit 10, 20, 30. And we only count a visit once a day, so it cannot be abused. And, you might want to put some reward in there, show this email to the barista and get a free slice of cake with your next coffee, something like this. But even if you don't put any reward in there, customers feel valued. Like they're like, oh, they recognize that I come back time and time again. So it's just building that strength of bond between the business and the customer, and hopefully that they're going to keep coming back so that they get the next loyalty email. The not seen in email is an extremely popular email with the restaurant sector. So if a user has logged in to the Wi-Fi network but hasn't come back and logged in once again in a certain amount of time. So let's say this is 30 days. I log in one day and then I don't log in again for 30 days. We'll send an email to that person automatically. And your idea here is they're potentially a lost customer. They've been, but they've not come back. Why is that? So give yourself the chance of them coming back to you by just reminding them that you exist. Maybe give them an incentive to come back once again. But, if you don't have social Wi-Fi and you don't have a system like this, what chances have you got of A, knowing who those customers were in the first place, and B, giving them a chance to come back? We're giving you some more control here over getting people to come back. Login email is the same as the first visit email, except it will go on a more regular basis. So It would go on the second, third, fourth visit email, but we'll only send the same email once every 30 days. So if if you go to the same coffee shop every morning, you don't want to be getting spammed every day with the same welcome message. Goodbye email is extremely popular in the hotel sector because they can send up follow-up questionnaires, give contact access to if there's any follow-up questions that want to be discussed after the visit, because we send the review email automatically, but as you've seen, there's only one question on there: how was your visit? But some hotels like to send questionnaires that go into a bit more depth. They like to give people access to the general manager so that he can see, they can give any feedback direct to him as well. So that's nice there. Post rating emails. So depending on how happy or sad someone is based on the review email, we can automatically send a reply to that as well if you really want to. And then birthday emails as well. Nice for all sectors, actually. Hotels will want you to book your weekend away for your birthday. Restaurants are going to want you to book your birthday meal, so on and so forth. And the idea is you say, look, I want the email to go 7 days before that user's birthday. And if we've captured their date of birth during the login process, we're going to deliver that email. But you can use all of these to drive people back to your business and spend more money. Hopefully that's all self-explanatory. Well, not self-explanatory, but hopefully I've made that quite clear on how these can be used. Feel free to drop any questions in on that, and I will do my best to answer them. But when they do start sending, you'll start seeing statistics in here as well about how many have been sent, how many have been opened, and so forth. You can configure your own email servers as well, so everything will come from your emails if you configure an SMTP server. And if you do configure an SMTP server, you can send mass mailings, which is basically you create a template and it's going to go to every user in the social Wi-Fi database. Yes, we do handle opt-outs, so all of the emails have unsubscribe links, and if people do click opt-out, then they're going to get removed from the user data tab. So we've got you covered on that one. Okay, moving on. I'm going to, so if we just work down from the top here and look at the things. So the statistics are what you probably expect to see. We're going to show you statistics of how many people have logged in, how many people have left online reviews, things like this. So you can track over time how the system is working for you. We've got the user data tab, which we've seen. We've looked at the inbox. We've gone through the Wi-Fi login pages, the review system. External reviews is something we have in beta. I'm going to skip over that. We've looked at the mailing. The integrations, we've got a few things here. I'm going to very quickly touch on just a few things here. We've got a Zappy application, so we can push data from our system to other systems through Zappy as like a middle API service. You don't need any coding for that, though you will need a Zapier account and they may charge you. But what was very interesting to people into marketing are our Facebook and Google cookie integrations. So we can embed Facebook Pixel and Google cookie on the Wi-Fi login pages and the emails and the landing pages and things like this. I'm going to touch on the Facebook Pixel one. Because if all you do is paste in your Pixel code and we start embedding them. But what you can start doing is you can then go into your Facebook ad manager and you can create campaigns that target your known customers, or you can remove your known customers from ad sets. So you can, if you're going to target the local area, you can create targeted ads based on people that have visited before and those that have perhaps not visited in the past. But what is also very popular amongst marketers is using the Facebook lookalike audiences. So you add your pixel into social Wi-Fi. Social Wi-Fi will build an audience within the Facebook ad manager of people that have used your Wi-Fi and been presented with this pixel. If you then go into Facebook ad manager and create a lookalike audience of those people, it's going to build an audience of people that match the sets that match the similarities of your existing customers. Create an audience that you can then target to bring new people in. So if if Facebook identify that the people getting the pixels are generally people in their 20s and they have a certain group of likes and interests, you can ask Facebook to go and find you more people like that. And the likelihood is, if they're sharing the same interests, they're probably going to have the same interests in your business. So that's a really nice way of getting your digital marketing department involved in using the Wi-Fi to get more people coming back in. So that's a very nice integration that people like to use, especially if they know what they're doing with Facebook Ad Manager. And Google has very similar characteristics as well. But the Facebook one is where a lot of people are spending their money these days. And we got some other tabs down here. The media is basically just a repository of all the artwork you've uploaded in case you need to get it downloaded again. You can add more people to the dashboard. So if you have multiple team members, you just add people with different permission levels. They get access to different parts of the system, so on. Login codes. You can create bypass codes so people can just get access to the internet without having to share their details. Some businesses like to do that. Some of their customers perhaps not too happy about sharing data. And then settings and access points is not the most exciting thing. But if I do come into access points, you see here all of the brands that we have integrations with. So for those of you that are on here that are not customers of social Wi-Fi, you can take a look through this list at what equipment you do need in order to get started with social Wi-Fi. And if you select any of these, so let's say you have Ubiquiti access points, we have links on all of those to our setup guides on those brands. So that was Ubiquiti. If you've got Cisco Meraki, it's a much easier integration than Ubiquiti. But we have a number of different brands here. If you don't have anything from this list, get in touch with us and we'll find out. You can tell us what you have got, and we'll give you advice on how you can get started. The likelihood is, the cheapest option is going to be to get a MikroTik router and connect that to your network. Very, very common setup and very easy to do. But yeah, without connecting with your Wi-Fi network, none of this is possible. So the right equipment is needed. If you don't have the right equipment, it's not the end of the world. We can still relatively cheaply get things connected. You might just have to go and buy a piece of equipment that is compatible. So I hope that's given you an idea about what Wi-Fi marketing can do. And what social Wi-Fi is all about. If having seen all of that, if any of you have got any questions, I'll stay here for a few minutes and see what comes through and answer those. But otherwise, I'm gonna wrap things up there. And thank you all for joining. We've had people join throughout, drop off throughout. But if you stayed throughout the whole thing, that's good commitment. Thanks very much for listening to my voice for the last 1 hour. So I'll stay here. I'll answer any questions that do come through if there are any. And if not, hopefully I'll see you on the next webinars where we'll probably look at some of the functions in a lot more detail. I've kind of done high level on everything, but we'll do some future webinars that go in depth on certain functions. So hopefully I'll see you there.